Good evening, YouTube. This is EconCat88, and this is a story from WXYZ television station in Detroit. And it is a piece that they have produced regarding firefighters drinking on the job in Detroit. And it's a pretty interesting story. It's about 5.5 minutes long. I'll go ahead and start it. I'll probably stop it a couple times during the video and make some comments. But I have not watched the whole thing, so this should be interesting.
It's hard to say how many Detroit firefighters drink on duty. It's largely unknown to the public, but a well-documented decades-old tradition. You might be surprised to hear there's actually a certain level of tolerance for it. But like a cold bottle of beer being poured into a tall glass, this bottle battle is rapidly coming to a head.
I would say pretty much citywide.
All the firehouses?
The ones I worked at, yes.
The man in silhouette is breaking the code of silence, talking about the Detroit Fire Department's dirty little secret.
They usually drank out of plastic tumblers, and you know where they kept their stash.
He's retired now, but he watched it go on for years. Do the bosses know this is going on?
Oh, yes.
Why don't they put a stop to it?
Of course the bosses know it goes on. The bosses came from the rank and file workforce.
Because they used to drink with them.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously.
But the days of throwing back beers in the firehouse without serious repercussions could be coming to an end. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a new boss in town, and he's not playing.
My biggest concern, though, Scott, is that there's an air of acceptance, where this is the way it's always been.
Fire Commissioner Don Austin grew up in Detroit, but spent much of his life in the fire service in Los Angeles. When he was recruited by Mayor Bing to come home a year ago, he already knew about the drinking. He recalls the story his brother told him when he was a rookie firefighter back in the early 70s.
That a Stroh brewery truck pulled across the apron and made its daily delivery to the fire station, and it quite astounded him.
And Austin himself was surprised just 2 months ago over something his deputy, Fred Wheeler, stumbled upon while giving a tour of the firehouse. I'll tell you what happened here in a minute. Right now, more on the commissioner's efforts to put a lid on boozing and the resistance he's running into.
Shortly after I got here, I put out a policy saying there was a zero tolerance for alcohol use on the job. I got pushed back when I found out it wasn't a zero tolerance.
I called him, I said, obviously someone hasn't informed you that we do have a substance abuse policy. And that if you do want to change it, all we got to do is sit down and negotiate over it.
What was your reaction when you saw that policy?
I was quite blown away, honestly.
Austin discovered there is a certain level of tolerance for drinking in the union contract. If you're .02 or below a first offense, it's a 3-day suspension and you're referred to counseling. At .04 or higher, you're terminated. But the department has discretion to offer a last chance agreement that allows the firefighter to keep their job and start over with a clean slate if they don't get caught drinking again for 5 years. Just recently, Austin put out a second memo saying last chance agreements will not be available in the same manner as in the past.
So basically, I'm putting everyone on notice that if you get found out on my watch, I'm going to do everything I can to terminate you.
And in the end, you're pushing for zero tolerance.
And I'm pushing for zero tolerance, absolutely.
Would you go along with that?
Caught drinking? To what level? Drinking at all?
At all?
I don't know.
Would you at least talk about it?
Absolutely.
McNamara says it was the union that first asked for a substance abuse policy, and it was the city that established those blood alcohol guidelines back in 1999. But we depend on firefighters to save our lives and property. How can the union president justify any drinking on the job at all?
For example, I was laid off 3 times. When I got off to work in the morning, the guys gave me a beer as a toast. Good luck, kid. I was leaving the firehouse. I had a beer at work.
The union boss and the fire commissioner do agree on a couple of things. Both think only a small fraction of Detroit's firefighters drink on the job, and they agree drinking should not be tolerated. What's in dispute is how it should be dealt with when someone is caught. The fire commissioner worries about a firefighter having a few beers, getting behind the wheel, and having an accident.
Then if you put on top of that the fact that this is kind of something that is accepted at some level in the organization, that I think will expose the city to great liability.
McNamara says every firefighter who gets into an accident or is injured on the job is automatically tested.
It's a life and death job we do. None of any firefighters that have been injured or killed on this job have ever tested positive for any drug. None.
Yet both men agree some drinking goes on in firehouses. Remember the deputy commissioner giving the tour of the firehouse? He stumbled across a cooler with 5 beers on ice in a closet, and nearby a garbage bag with 51 empty beer cans.
And it's only a small problem. Yeah, sure, buddy. Go ahead. It's your story. Tell it how you want to tell it, but I'm not buying what you're selling.
Every firefighter on duty was tested for alcohol and drugs, and all came back negative.
But with that quantity of alcoholic containers, something's going on.
I think you might have just missed the party.
I think, we have 2 shifts here, a Unit 1 and a Unit 2, and I think we hit it on the wrong day.
Now here's the real kicker. This arbitration ruling just came out. A firefighter on duty blew a .13. That's almost twice the legal limit for driving. The city fired him, but the arbitrator ordered him reinstated with full back pay. He said because most others have gotten these last chance agreements in the past, he should have gotten one too. Commissioner Austin said he was stunned by the decision the city is appealing in circuit court. You can read the arbitrator's decision on our website, wxyz.com.